Hello friends, today we are going to take a look at the transportation in plants. We will go through the water and mineral transportation as well as a phloem transportation. We will study some of the theories which explain the mechanism of transportation in plants. So the first question which comes in your head is that why transportation is needed in plant? In any multicellular organism having large body requires the transportation, since each and every parts of that body need some kind of nutrient substances to work with, and that's why transportation must be carried out to supply that substances or matter to those parts. Just like in plants, animals also need transportation for the supplement of minerals, nutrients and water to each and every part, and that's why some of the animals, especially vertebrates, have a specialized system for the transportation. Just like animals, plants also have specialized tissue for the transportation. We will study pathway through which transportation is taken place in plants, and we will also see some of the theories which will explain that how transportation is taken place in plant. So before transporting the substances to the different part of the plants, once that substance, nutrients, water and mineral must be absorbed, and as we know that absorption takes place in roots. Roots are involved in the absorption of nutrients, minerals and water, and that's why the extrusions of roots, which are also called as a root hair, which increases the surface area of the root, absorb the nutrients, water and mineral, and once the water, mineral, nutrients penetrate into the root cells, it moves into the protoplasm. Through protoplasm it crosses the plasmodesmata and enters into the cell membrane and then enters into the xylem. Now it reaches to the xylem. Once it enters into the xylem, there the transportation will be taken place. Now the transportation of reached substance or material, especially water and dissolved substances, dissolved mineral, will be carried out due to some of the external pressures and tension, adhesion and cohesion. These are the things which will be involved for the transportation in water mineral. But before understanding the actual mechanism of transportation, we will just take an overview of the transportation. You will be able to see the overall transportation image on the diagram on the screen. The lower part consisted of roots is penetrated in the soil, where the abundant amount of nutrient, water and mineral are present. From there H2O and water will be absorbed. It will move in upward direction. You can clearly see the xylem column, xylem column is there, which will transport the water and dissolved salts through the xylem column up to the leaves. It may divert to the branching areas, and through the stem it will reach to the each and every part of the plant. Now the water column, which has formed in xylem tube, in xylem tissue, in xylem vessels, will move upward due to the cohesion and adhesion. Why? Adhesion is the interaction of substances or water with the wall of xylem, while cohesion is the force or the interaction between two adjacent molecule of water. Now as we know that hydrogen bond is present in water, and that hydrogen bond is responsible for creation of the cohesion between molecule, and once the molecule is water molecule is moving upward, the other molecules which are present below in the column will be pushed upward due to the cohesion tension, while the wall of xylem will resist their inward flow in the xylem column. So this is how the water will move upward. So you may ask that what forces will drag them to move upward. It is mostly due to the transpiration. Transpiration is a phenomena through which water is removed from the aerial part of the plant, such as a stomata or lenticles. Sometimes bars also remove the excessive water, and this phenomena is also classified under transpiration. I have one separate video on transpiration, so to understand the transpiration, just go through that video. You will get an idea that how transpiration takes place. But here we will not focus on transpiration, but transpiration is one of the phenomena which drags the water present in water column to move upward. As these are the leaves. Leaves have stomata. The water which is present in a leaf cell will excrete the water out. Water will be eluted from that cells, and eluted water will create the thrust in nearby cell, and that thrust will drags the water molecule present below the leaf cells, which is the xylem column, and this is how water will move upward. Once a water column is formed, the water column will not be broken down and continuously will stream in upward direction, in a unidirection, and the water which is in front will again be eluted out through the transpiration process. Now you can see the here membrane, plasma membrane. The plasma membrane and protoplasts of endodermal cells, the water and the dissolved mineral must reach to these cells in order to enter into the xylem. So this is the whole complete pathway. So this is the diagram which explains about the pathway through which water and dissolved mineral enters into the xylem. So this is the Casparian stripe. This Casparian stripe is impermeable to water. Since water cannot penetrate the Casparian stripe, the water must enter into the protoplasm in order to reach to the xylem. The cells which are present in a front layer of the root is called endodermal cells. Now there is one theory which explains the transportation and absorption of water, which is root pressure theory. Root pressure theory states that movement of water into the plant up to the xylem column is there because of continuous tension present in root. So there was a scientist who injected a needle, and the needle was connected with the galvanometer. So he found some kind of pulsation in root. So he said that some kind of pulsation or some kind of tension is created inside root, which is responsible for the pushing force of the water. And actually this theory was found to be found to be false in terms of the higher plants, higher order plants. For example, gymnosperm and angiosperm, especially those plants who are very tall, because the root pressure is not enough to transport water to the leaves or to the upper part of that much tall plants, and that's why this theory is applicable only for small herbs and shrubs. The leaves contain stomata. The stomata are responsible to carry out the transpiration. So this is another theory. The root pressure theory does not state anything about the transpiration and the role of transpiration in transportation. But the another theory which involves the transpiration and states the role of transpiration in transportation of mineral and water. It says that once the leaves contain the stomata, that is through that stomata, evaporation of water will take place. The water which was present in nearby the leaf cell will be eluted out, will be evaporated out, and that's why it will create some tension in nearby cells, which will drag the water which is present in water column. Hence water column will face the some kind of pushing, upward pushing force, and continuous water column will be formed, which will move upward in a direction, and the water molecule which are present in a front phase will again evaporated out. So this will be continuous in a like a cycle. So the recycling of water will be also taken place, and through this process the leaves will be cooled down. The temperature will be cooled down in order to maintain all this sufficient enzymatic activity during the summer. So here in a diagram, I think you can clearly see that how water is absorbed and how it is transported from the root to the upper part of the plant, where through the transpiration transportation of water takes place. Now the regulation of transpiration. Why is it necessary to learn? Because the rate of transpiration is directly proportional to the rate of transportation. Hence the regulation of transpiration will also regulate the water transportation. So the transpiration rate depends on the opening and closing of the stomatal aperture. So if turgor pressure of guard is low, the guard cells are the types of cell which consist the aperture of stoma, and once the turgor pressure of guard cell is low, the guard cell will be closed, and thus transpiration will not occur. But if the turgor pressure of guard is very high, the guard will be opened and the rate of transpiration will increase, and thus in turn the rate of transportation will also increase. Now we will take a look at the phloem transportation. Phloem is another type of tissue, complex tissue found in plant. Contrary to xylem, phloem transports nutrients and other substances, for example carbohydrates. The transportation of phloem is bidirectional. Why? Unlike water, which is absorbed only by root and which only moves upward in a direction, the substances or the nutrients which are prepared by leaves must reach to the each and every part of the plant in a bidirectional way, in a multi-directional way, in order to compensate the requirement of nutrients in all parts of the plant, and thus the transportation of those nutrients and substances are not only in one direction but in a multi direction. It can move from from the leaf to the root, or from root to the leaf, from one branch to the another branch, from one apical to the lateral branch of the plant. So the phloem transportation is also necessary in order to provide substances and nutrients, and the mechanism through which it works can be explained through several theories. The translocation refers to the distribution of nutrients, especially carbohydrate, through phloem. The osmosis is a important phenomena through which sucrose, like carbohydrates, are transported, and it requires the energy. While once sucrose is loaded into the phloem, then it will be easily transported by the facilitated diffusion and will not require ATP.